In 2029, the cataclysmic war between humans and hostile AI Skynet turned the Earth into a wasteland. Since Skynet wants to prevent the rise of John Connor as the future resistance leader, they send a T-1000 Terminator to the year 1995 to silence John once and for all. In response, the Resistance also sends a reprogrammed Terminator T-800 to protect John. In the opening scene, both the extraterrestrial beings arrive in California in 1995. While Terminator T-1000 subdues a cop and steals his uniform and car, Terminator T-800 heads to a nearby diner by a truck stop. Seeing it stark naked, the bikers make fun of it, but it soon manages to retrieve some clothes and weapons for itself and rides away on one of the bikes. In the next scene, we see the 10-year-old John Connor living with his foster parents Janelle and Todd. His real mother, Sarah Connor, always told him about his future role, where he would lead humans to victory against machines. In her efforts to warn humanity about the impending war of the machines, she almost destroyed the headquarters of a computer company to prevent Judgment Day, the predicted events in 1997 where Skynet will become sentient and initiate a nuclear holocaust when its creator tries to deactivate it. Due to her aggressive actions, Sarah now spends her days in a mental institution called the Pescadero State Hospital. Moving on, the T-1000 locates John at a mall, but so does the T-800, who helps John escape while incapacitating the T-1000 in an explosion. When John tries to get in touch with his foster parents, the T-800 infers that the T-1000 might have already killed them. John is shocked to learn that his future self sent the T-800, a Cyberdyne Systems Model 101, to protect him against T-1000, a hostile Terminator sent by Skynet to kill him. Since the T-1000 is made up of an indestructible and mimetic polyalloy that resembles mercury, it can shift itself into any shape or size. Since it might go after Sarah next, they need to help her escape. When John realizes that the T-800 is programmed to obey him, he forbids it from killing people and they head toward the secured mental institution. Once they get there, Sarah is already trying to escape. After locking a guard in her room, she takes Dr. Silberman hostage to get through the security. On her way to the elevators, Sarah runs away in horror when she sees T-800 in it, since it is identical to the Terminator who tried to kill her in 1984. John tells her that it is here to help them, and together, the trio escapes in a police car, with the T-1000 pursuing them. Sarah does not trust the T-800, but decides to use its knowledge of the future to learn about the creator of Skynet. The T-800 tells her about Miles Dyson, a top scientist at Cyberdyne Systems Corporation, developing a supercomputer that will become sentient in 1997 and wage war against humanity. Moving forward, they reach Enrique Salceda's camp, where Enrique has stashed some weapons for Sarah and John. Sarah plans to escape to Mexico with John and T-800 armed with weapons from the underground cache. Sarah cannot help but notice how the T-800 serves John as a friend and father figure and admires their bond. Later that night, she has a nightmare where Los Angeles is destroyed by nuclear weaponry and she is unable to save everyone. When she wakes up, she realizes she has scratched the words "No Fate" into a table. Since she now believes that killing Miles Dyson is the only way to prevent Judgment Day, she drives away in one of Enrique's cars. When John sees the scratched message, he understands what Sarah has decided on, so he leaves along with the T-800 to stop her. In the next scene, Sarah reaches Miles's residence, but she is unable to kill a person for a crime he hasn't even committed yet. John and the T-800 also arrive, and the latter explains its origin to Miles. Along with Sarah, they convince Miles to destroy his work or risk the destruction of humanity. Miles informs them that the robotic arm of the previous T-800 as well as its CPU survived the hydraulic press when Sarah destroyed it. Cyberdyne Systems secretly recovered them, and Miles' entire research of Skynet microprocessor has been reverse engineered from that cybernetic arm and CPU. In the next scene, John, Sarah, T-800, and Miles head to the heavily guarded Cyberdyne Systems building to retrieve the parts of the first Terminator. As they prepare the explosives, they attract the attention of security, which calls the police and SWAT. The T-800 holds the police off with a minigun it took from Enrique's stash and creates a diversion, tactfully hitting police cars to avoid killing anyone. When the SWAT team enters the building and shoots Miles fatally, he realizes he is not going to survive, so he decides to stay back and detonate the explosives himself while giving the Connors and the T-800 a chance to escape. When the SWAT team finds him, He tells them that he won't be able to stop the detonations and asks them to leave. As they retreat from the building, he holds a piece of his prototype processor over a bomb, and when he dies, he releases the trigger which detonates the bombs. As John, Sarah, and the T-800 escape in a SWAT van to the highway, they are pursued by the T-1000 in a police helicopter. T-800 drives the van while Sarah shoots at the helicopter, but the T-1000 shoots her and eventually crashes into the van. T-800 then grabs a small pickup truck and tries to get away from the T-1000, who has seized a large tanker truck. When they try to get off the highway, the T-800 shoots at the T-1000 and flips the tanker truck, spilling its entire load of liquid nitrogen. This immobilizes the T-1000, giving the T-800 the perfect opportunity to shatter it with a gunshot, but due to the heat from a nearby boiler, the fragments melt and coalesce within minutes. Seeing this, the Connors and the T-800 take refuge in a steel mill. As the T-1000 approaches them, a glitch forces it to imitate multiple surfaces that it passes through. Just as the T-800 asks Sarah and John to hide, the T-1000 engages in a one-on-one fight with the T-800 and manages to pin its hand in a giant gear. After that, the T-1000 goes after Sarah, who hides John and comes out to face the T-1000. When it pins her down and tries to torture her, suddenly the T-800 shows up and attacks the T-1000 with a prying bar. It is the same bar it used to free itself by severing the pinned arm. A fight ensues again, and the T-1000 manages to damage the T-800's power cell by impaling it to the deck. Shortly after, John hears Sarah calling out for him. He finds her injured, but suddenly another Sarah appears from behind him, which shows that the other Sarah is the T-1000 disguised as her. Sarah shoots at the T-1000 until she runs out of ammo. Meanwhile, the T-800 reactivates itself by finding an alternate power source and blasts the T-1000 with a fire grenade. This causes the T-1000 to lose its balance, and it ends up falling into a vessel of molten steel. Given the extreme temperature of the molten steel, the T-1000 is unable to survive and meets its doom. John then asks the T-800 if the cybernetic arm and CPU from the previous Terminator will melt in the steel. When the T-800 gives him the green signal, so John throws both remains into the pool of molten steel. After that, the T-800 declares that it must also be destroyed to prevent its technology from being used to create Skynet. Since it cannot self-terminate, it asks Sarah to lower it into the steel pool. John tearfully shouts no and orders him against it, but the T-800 refuses his orders for the first time and insists that it needs to be done. After it apologizes to John, the T-800 embraces it like a father. Seeing John's tears, the T-800 finally understands why humans cry. Just before the T-800 heads to the railing, Sarah respectfully shakes its hand. Then it steps on a chain and Sarah lowers it into the molten steel. As the T-800 sinks into the molten steel, it gives John and Sarah a thumbs up, something it learned from John. In the end, Sarah drives John away on a dark highway with her renewed hopes for the future, pondering that if a machine could learn the value of life, maybe humanity can too. With that, the movie ends. Thanks for watching Terminator 2 Recap. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. See you next time. Welcome, sci-fi fans. Futurist Flicks is thrilled to launch our exclusive membership program, designed for loyal fans like you. By joining, you'll unlock early access to recap videos, unseen recap videos, raffle prizes, free merch giveaways, exclusive content and behind-the-scenes insights, access to community events, live streams, and Q&A sessions. Join the Cosmic Crew today and get instant access to exclusive perks. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more intergalactic adventures.